Hello. Today I am going to make my beloved granola. And I'm going to share the recipe with you. And yeah, it's just a really nice healthy breakfast or a snack. I even like having it on ice cream, a little bit on ice cream. Or just even having it granola with berries. Or I also do granola on really nice vanilla yogurt and then with berries. So today I'm going to share my recipe, and I put out most of my ingredients so that I wouldn't have to be kind of running around gathering them. So trying to be organized. Anyway, so this recipe I was given to it by my aunt Gail, and she passed this recipe on to me. Oh, I was probably around 18, 19. And yeah, so it's probably came to me back in the late 70s. And, you know, she was making granola back then. Not a lot of people were making granola. So I love her recipe. So in my cookbook, I've got it named Gail's Granola. Gail's Granola. But I guess on the title of this, I've put Wendy or Granola at Magnolia Petal Accommodation. And yeah, so anyway, that's where this recipe came from, and I just love it. So to start, what I do is I get 5 cups of oatmeal in a bowl, and actually this bowl might not be big enough. I probably should have grabbed a bigger bowl. So 5 cups of oatmeal, and I love to use the large grain oat. You can do the smaller, but I love it. I love getting the large flake oatmeal, but the other one works too. So also, I'm not going to put it in today, but in my aunt's recipe, it also calls for 1 cup of wheat germ. And right now I don't have any on me, so I'm not going to be doing that. And we'll be using 1 cup of coconut. Love coconut. So when I buy my coconut, I generally buy it in the bulk, and I get, there's one, I don't know if you can see this, one's like a really large flake, and then I get the next one down. I tend to choose these ones because they're not, they're kind of chunky, or you could go with the really fine coconut, but I just like the look of these, and when you bite into a piece of the coconut, it's so good. So that's what I use. And so we're going to add in 1 cup of coconut. And then I'm going to do 1 cup of sesame seeds. And a lot of times, you know, I just throw it all in. I don't actually measure it. I'm going to put a little more in there. Because sometimes I'll have a jar and I'll just chuck in my jar. And because I always like to, refresh my seeds. And then I'm putting in 1 cup of raw sunflower seeds. And oh, by the way, you can use organic, or you can have salted sunflower seeds or salted sesame seeds, either way, or unsalted. Now my aunt's recipe called for 1 cup of walnuts, and I'm not a big fan of walnuts. So what I do instead is I do pecans, which I just chopped up. So a cup of pecans, and I love pecans, yeah. And I don't chop them up too fine, because I like to get some pieces in there in my granola. So you know what? It just depends on what you like. I like kind of a chunkier granola. And then I'm going to put in almonds as well. So I did a cup of pecans, and I'm going to do a cup of almonds. It actually calls for half a cup, but I love almonds. So I improvise a bit, and that's great. Today I'm not doing it, but sometimes I've also put in cashews, which is really good. The only one nut that I used that I didn't particularly like because it actually didn't seem to, it had sort of like an expiry on it, I think. So it didn't keep. And generally, you know, I do go through the granola fairly quickly, but I had put hazelnuts in it this one time, and I don't know, maybe it was the hazelnuts I bought, but they didn't keep. So, and when I, after I've made my granola and baked it, I keep it in the fridge in a sealed container, and it actually tends to last, like keep its freshness. It's quite nice. So yeah, about a cup of almonds. And what I've done, I did these myself. These are Asian pears, and I have a dehydrator that I've been using. I love it. Anyway, so I went to one of the farm stands here on Salt Spring, and I bought some Asian pears. So I dehydrated these probably about a week ago, and I would use this not always in my granola, but I think it just gives it a really nice extra flavor, and gives it a kind of a nice look too, right? So I cut these up, not too fine, because again, I like chunky granola. Okay, so I'll probably use up all of those. I'm gonna have to go buy more pears. Man, these are so good. Really good. Yeah, if you ever, you know, think you want to do stuff like this, go buy yourself a dehydrator. They work great. You do all kinds of things. Pineapple, kale, mango, just everything, right? Apples. Get into doing even like salmon and things like that. Kind of getting off track. I'm talking about my dehydrator. So I'm going to throw these in. And now the other thing I like to put in there, but I'm not going to do it now, and usually I add it when I'm serving it, is you could put in a cup of raisins or a cup of cranberries. And I prefer not to throw them in because sometimes they get too dried out when you're doing your slow bake. So I find I'd rather have them, you know, not baked in the oven, or you could throw them in maybe for the last hour while you're baking your granola, and they won't get, you know, baked as much. So I'm gonna get a spoon. Now I put everything in here now, so yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna mix it all up. The nice thing about granola is you can like do this part, you know, one day, and say you get busy and you have to run out, and you can actually let it sit, which I've done sometimes. I get pretty busy around here. I have an accommodation, so I'll let it sit, and maybe I'll add in my second step the next day. Excuse me. So yeah, basically stir all this up, get it all mixed in. Looks really good. And see how I kind of even have like chunks of coconut in it that are, yeah. That, I think this one was like a sugared coconut. So you don't have to get the sugared, you can get just the plain coconut. But just look at how, you know, you get all these nice different sizes of, you know, the nuts, the pears. You could do apples, dried apples would be really nice. Okay, so there's that. Now, the second part is I get 2/3 cup of water, and you boil your water, so it is hot water, and I'm just plugged it in, so I'm gonna boil that for a sec. And you get a container to mix. You're gonna put water, honey, and soy oil. I have sometimes used olive oil, or I sometimes use canola oil or grapeseed oil. So whatever your choice of oil that you want to use. And we're going to use 3/4 cup of honey. And you know what? 3/4 cup is just nice. If you want really sweet granola, you would add more. But I just like it the way it is. And I'm just going to scoop that out. That's about a 3/4 cup. That's how I do it. That's actually how I make this. I don't actually measure everything. So that's probably, yeah, that's 3/4 cup. And honey, that's our BC honey. And actually I have another type of honey. It's called, oh, what's the name of it? This honey here, this is called buckwheat honey. It has a really strong flavor. I've never made granola with the buckwheat honey yet, but I bet you it'd be really good. It'd be a really different flavor. So whatever type of honey you like, throw it in. I mean, I like the Maui lavender honey. Yum. So, oh, and sorry, the reason I have comments turned off is because I'm over here and I can't go running back and forth. But Joe, if Joe was here, he probably would have had the comments on and he could have answered some questions. And okay, so I'm boiling my water. I've got my 3/4 cup honey, and I'm going to also add in 3/4 cup soy oil. So with that, I'm going to basically measure, I don't know if you can see that, I'm going to measure it. Actually, and I'm not using the soy oil, I'm using canola oil. So 3/4 cup oil into that. Put that on there so it'll drip out. And the reason I'm boiling the water is so that it will actually help break down the honey. It'll kind of melt it. So unless you're using like liquid honey, you know, if you use liquid honey it wouldn't matter, but because I'm using more of the solid honey, I need it to melt before I put it in the granola. So, and you can see how I'm sort of, I like to pick smaller containers than I really need. I should have a bigger container. And this container's clean, so what I'm going to do, and this is what I usually do, I sit it in here while I'm stirring this. Okay, and I'm going to add my hot water. Okay, I boiled my water, and I'm going to add in two-thirds of a cup. 1, 2, 2/3 cup hot water. Okay. So I'm gonna, now what I'll do, I'm just gonna start stirring this. Actually, I really like this container. So I just start mixing it, and when it's all blended, it's, you know, if I had a bigger container, I could just mix it up quite quickly. That's okay. This is the way I do it. There's perfection in my imperfection, in my way of doing things. Oh, that's funny. Okay. I don't know, I just like seeing the honey kind of melt in here. It's really nice. A lot of people love our BC honey. You know how everybody has different types of honey depending where you live. And you think about it, it's like where the bees go and where they get their pollen from. Like Joe and I here on this property, we have lots of eucalyptus trees, and the bees love it when they're in bloom. So I would think, well, whoever's making honey around here, they're probably getting a lot of eucalyptus pollen in there. Okay, so that's mixed. So now I'm going to tip that. Pour that into my dry granola mixture. Okay. And there's still a bit of honey in the bottom. So I will scoop a bit of that. That's okay. What will happen with that, sometimes with that you'll get a big chunk of granola that sticks together with a bit of honey. And you get all your honey out. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And okay, so then you just mix that all up. So, you know, really this is the easiest cereal type, you know, healthy cereal to make. It's so good. And, you know, and I've added other things. I've added poppy seeds. Sometimes I've put in, I don't know if everybody has this, but it's called Red River Porridge. And it has like flax seeds in it. And so what I do with that, I'll pour in just a bit of it, and it gives it kind of this even nicer crunch. So those are ways that you can, you know, be creative when you're making your granola. It doesn't have to be, you know, you follow this recipe to the T. Just get creative and add. This is just like a really good base to start from. I know people too that put cinnamon in their granola. I don't it's great, but I prefer it not to have that. It's kind of like, to me, it's like putting teriyaki on a steak. So I just like more just the natural flavors, like the honey in it, and just very good. Okay. And plus you're usually putting granola, we're having it with fruit. So, you know, I just, myself personally, I don't want to have cinnamon on it. Anyway, so that is ready. And what I'll do now is I have a big pan. This will fit all of that. And this actually is a fairly large recipe, so you could cut this recipe in half. Like if you're actually just making it for 2 people, I would cut it in half. I make this for my bed and breakfast. So I've, you know, run 2 B&Bs now. My first one, I had a menu. This was one of the items on the menu, and I would have, you know, people would order and they'd put the time they wanted their breakfast, and then they'd come up. So I'd have 5 different things on the menu. Belgian waffles. I do like a bagel with salmon locks, capers, Spanish onions. Then the granola I do with the fresh yogurt and fruit. The other one I did this really good ham, Black Forest ham and cheese, an egg, 2-egg sandwich. Oh, it was so good. I love that. I still make that. I love it. So now in this B&B, I simplified. So now all I do, if people order it, because I guess with everything going on in the world, I thought I'm going to simplify. So I know I call it an accommodation. So if somebody does want a breakfast here, like what I do is a basket now. So in the basket, this is what I would do. I do the granola with fresh fruit, the yogurt, and I do some baked goods like, you know, homemade blueberry muffins or homemade ginger snaps, and then there's coffee and tea, and yeah, and I deliver a basket. So it just makes it easier for everything. And plus I also work, I'm away a lot of mornings too, so that's the easiest and quickest way for me to do it at my accommodation now. And I love doing it. So I don't always do it though. Not all the guests want it, which is great. So anyway, this is all out in the pan now. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put my oven at 225, and I'm going to bake this. It's a slow bake for about an hour and a half. And what you wanna do with that is you wanna pull it out and stir it about every 15 minutes. If you forget, I mean, don't forget and leave it in there the whole time, because it's going to end up being really crispy. You know, you need to stir it so the air gets at everything in here and starts to dry it. Because right now it is, you know, wet. It's got the oil and the honey on it. So by baking it slow, it's going to absorb into the oatmeal, and it'll be nice for when you're actually storing it in your jar. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn the oven on. 225 start. I'm going to show you my granola. Actually, and I still have some. So I store my granola in this jar in the fridge, and I have a scoop, and it keeps really nice. So when I serve that, I put it in a little container, and then if I wanted, like I said about the cranberries, or if you want raisins, I would sprinkle some on top. Yeah, sometimes I'll add it in and mix it in, but with this batch I didn't. So those are things you can, you decide what you want, and you can switch it up. I'm going to show this. I'm showing this also. This is one of my favorite yogurts. Olympic Crema, vanilla, or you can get the plain, which is more like the Greek yogurt. Just love this, nice and thick. It's so good with some granola and some fresh fruit. So in the oven my granola goes, and I'll be stirring it about every 15 minutes, and when it's done I'll take it out, let it cool, and then I'll put it in my jar and then put it in the fridge. So thanks for watching, and love to share more recipes with you on my channel. I haven't been doing many videos this summer because I've been really busy with the bed and breakfast, and I've also been busy working at another inn that I've been with for maybe 10 years now. So, but hopefully, yeah, like I'll get back at posting more videos. Probably the same as what I've done before. I'd like to do more cooking ones. I might do some more art ones, maybe like to teach some sort of little art projects. And of course, always we do the gardens. Joe is a big presenter on my channel as well, big part of it. So we like, and if we're out touring around or whatever's going on in our lives, we sort of like to post. So thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Hope I can gain some more subscribers again. I think I've lost a few over the summer as I haven't been posting. And yeah, love to see people come back, share, like, subscribe, and yeah, put comments if you think you want me to post something or another recipe. Let me know and I'll post it. This is an unedited video, so it's live, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to do more live videos and get better at it and not say as much. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye. That's it. Come alive. Now it's like